big dragon energy, royal treachery, and an unexpected partnership are all present. House of the Dragon is still in its first season. The first season of House of the Dragon has now concluded, much to the dismay of the viewers. The show has grown to be immensely well-liked and well-known. Fans were astonished, perplexed, and upset by several House of the Dragon Season 1 incidents. Here are the 5 House of the Dragon power moves. A page from the past. If you recall, Lil Rhaenyra, Millie Alcock, and Alicent, Emily Carey were the best of friends and could be heard laughing and talking throughout King's Landing and the Godswood in Episode 1 of House of the Dragon. When Alicent quizzed Rhaenyra about Westeros history when they were in the Godswood, Rhaenyra not only aced the test, but also tore a page out of Alicent's history book in defiance. In order to take advantage of their previous relationship in this previous position, Alicent sent the page to Rhaenyra. It was intended to serve as a reminder that the two formerly had a close friendship and that Alicent still cares about Rhaenyra. Of course, there's a deeper meaning to that page being torn because this is House of the Dragon, obviously. Part of Nymearia's tale, the Rhoynish queen who led her people over the seas from Essos to Dorne. In the universe created by George R.R. Martin, Nymearia is a legendary female character. As a result, Arya Stark gave her direwolf her name. On this particular page, it's described how Nymearia tied her 10,000 ships together to withstand storms. Symbolic? Probably. But it does represent how the kingdom must be bound together, or does it represent Rhaenyra's clinging to her supporters? The Stepstones in Game of Thrones operate as the boundary between the Narrow Sea and the Summer Sea without giving away any future developments for the locale or the individuals involved. Another neighboring city is the Free City of Tyrosh. For those who haven't yet figured out, Tyroshi is Dario Naharis, Ed Skrein, or Mikhail Husman, the man who eventually develops feelings for Daenerys Emilia Clarke. Rhaenyra's big dragon energy. In Episode 2, Prince Daemon is a prince hated for being exiled by his brother the king. He wasn't leaving peacefully though. Hence, the episode's title, which is canon, also refers to the book that Archmaester Gildane writes about Daemon's formative years. The identical dragon egg that Rhaenyra placed in her brother's cradle was stolen by Daemon, who then revealed he had wed Mysaria, Sonoya Mizuno, and that she was pregnant. Both of the things Otto Hightower, played by Rhys Ifans, asserted were untrue when he and a group of others traveled to Dragonstone to get the egg. When Caraxes showed up and barred some fangs, the scene rapidly reached a ferocious level. Princess Rhaenyra comes to the rescue. Rhaenyra rode in on Syrax and talked with Daemon, determined to demonstrate to her father how important she can be and to prove her value. No one was harmed in the end, and it was further shown that Rhaenyra may be the only one who can communicate with Daemon. Daemon's petition regarding Driftmark. To have Lucerys declared not the rightful successor to Driftmark, Daemon presents a petition to King's Landing. Daemon wants to take his position, and it appears that he will be successful in convincing Alicent and Otto to let him. Viserys, though, makes a striking entry. He doesn't understand why the meeting is even happening, considering that Lucerys has already been designated as the successor. This scene has a lot of famous moments to it. Viserys won't take assistance from anybody but Daemon, so the latter puts the king's crown back on his head. A sick and frail Viserys gets up from his chair and brandishes a dagger as Daemon unleashes it on Rhaenyra and her kid. Finally, in an effort to defend his family, Daemon intervenes and slashes Daemon's head off. Alicent's green dress. In Episode 5, Alicent enters the room as Viserys is giving a speech and stops him. She's dressed in a stunning green gown. This is the first time we see her in green, a color that's extremely important to House Hightower. As Larys and Harwin Strong explain, when Oaktown, the seat of Hightower, calls its banners to war, the beacon at the top of the High Tower glows green. With one pointed sartorial choice, Alicent gives us a portent of the conflict to come. From the Red Keep, Alicent doesn't have the resources to change the High Tower beacon. In fact, she starts the episode almost completely alone. Her father Otto has been removed as Han. As she later finds out, Rhaenyra lied to her about whether she was still a virgin, which played a large part in her father's dismissal. On top of all that, Otto reminds her that if Viserys dies, Alicent's children will be in grave danger when Rhaenyra attempts to consolidate power. With the odds stacked against her, Allison uses her queenly fashion to send a signal to the high towers at the wedding feast. She's not going down without a fight. Aemon's sapphire blue eye. When Aemon removes his eye patch to reveal a White Walker eye in the House of the Dragon Season 1 finale, it's one of the show's most dramatic scenes. That's incorrect though. He's replaced his old eye with a star sapphire, a highly expensive blue gemstone. We caught a glimpse of Aemon's canonical star sapphire eye in the House of the Dragon opening credits, even though it's never specifically mentioned or explained in the episode. In the Bloodline sigils we see before each episode, Aemon is symbolized by a glistening blue stone. What's the situation with the star sapphire then? Aemon is essentially pulling a Tyrion Lannister when it comes to his eyeless condition. Do you recall when Tyrion advised Jon Snow to just accept his stupidity since the world would never forget him? By replacing his lost eye with a priceless gem, Aemon is taking ownership of his appearance. He wears the eye patch most of the time in the novels so as not to frighten the others. You know, since it looks kinda spooky. Regarding how it makes Aemon somewhat like a White Walker, I suppose that was done on purpose. It serves more as a conceptual gesture to the dangers House Targaryen confronts rather than as a foreshadowing of what's to come. Rhaenyra has spent the whole season fretting about the threat posed by the White Walkers, but perhaps the actual monster was hiding in her own family.